Hello everybody, we are back with a lovely 45-minute yoga class, and you can join me in Shugasana or any other comfortable seated posture and observe your breath, maybe a couple of breaths that you're guiding because sometimes that's nice just to make us more aware, and then start moving into your neck in any way that you like. So I'm doing half circles or a little bit more than that, but you might move in a different way. So the eyes could be closed. And you just take inspiration from your body. Already starting the right way by just tuning into what your body needs rather than looking around for inspiration. I think we often do that, but it's never really necessary. And you might also bring the hands behind the head, keeping the back straight. Press the chin down to the chest. Again, listening to what's good for your body and what might be a little bit much. There's that warm sensation that comes into the neck. Now, hands still behind the head so that you can let the head drop into the hands as you raise the head. Stretch the throat, keep breathing normally, and then back down. And up with the elbows going to the sides. You might squeeze the shoulder blades. And make sure that you're breathing in a way that makes sense here. Quite likely that you're inhaling as you're opening up anyway. And exhaling as you're pressing down. And find your rhythm as well. Don't rush the breath. If you're looking, then make sure you don't adopt my rhythm for no apparent reason. And then full circles with the hands guiding the head. And then we can go a little bit bigger. Still circling, but also circling the whole of the upper body. So letting the torso come down from one side over to the other. Still for the neck, but not just the neck. And then we reach the arms up high, move into the fingers, move into the wrists. Neck relaxed. And hands into fists and fingers far apart. Again, just testing out what feels good for you. And then push the elbows down into a W shape. And the chin can come down as well. So as we reach the arms up high, the head can go up. And as we push down, the chin can go down. And that may or may not be helpful in keeping the neck relaxed. Sometimes it does the opposite. But while you're, squeezing the shoulder blades, being a little bit stronger in the shoulders and arms, you want to keep the neck quite relaxed. So if it's more helpful to keep the head straight, then do that. And then pull your left wrist over to the right side and let your chin go over to the left armpit. Keeping the torso quite straight, so not coming forwards or into an arch. And then deeper as you drop that right hand to the ground and reach that left arm further over and drop the head and come back. Arms high. On an exhale, pull that right wrist to the left side. Oh, nice wind there. And chin again into to the right armpit. We go a little bit further and then even further dropping that left arm. Looking up towards the sky or ceiling and down towards the ground. And then we come up, arms up high and over to the right side and over to the left side. And it won't come as a surprise to you that we will listen to our breath here. I always say we can do yoga-inspired fitness. We can do a, 1 hour, or in this case 45-minute yoga class. But if we're not actually present, then it's not really yoga. And I should have said earlier, we change sides. So your outer foot comes in and then back into that W shape, but we're rolling into the shoulders. You could spread the fingers wider than I am. I think I'm actually doing a good job. And just being with the breath again. It's breath and movement. It's breath and posture. It's that awareness. So postures and movements are really only there to let you hone that sense of interoception of what's going on inside of you and let you forget what's around you. Now squeeze the shoulder blades and relax. And keep doing that, keeping the neck relaxed. Again, no tension where we don't want it. So being aware of that as well. And then hands onto the shoulders, drawing circles with the elbows, letting them touch at the front if you want. And then circling the other way. Arms up high on an inhale, then interlock the hands, press the palms towards the back. Gentle arch, pushing the shoulders to the back. Head high but comfortable in the neck. And float the arms down. And from here, round your back, hands on the knees, drop the head, arch your back, raising the head. And we keep going, arching and rounding in sync with our breath. Now arms to the front and opening up. And then we can play around a little bit with where the arms want to go. So it could just be this forwards and to the back. Could also be that you raise one arm higher than the other, one hand drops, and hands behind you, arching even deeper, sending your shoulders a little bit further to the back, breathing into the front of the body, and slowly coming forwards. And then from here we come onto all fours, Padmasana, tabletop pose. And again we try to roughly align the knees and hips and the wrists and shoulders, arching and looking up, rounding and dropping the head, and syncing this to the breath as well. So always put the breath first, movement adjusts to the breath. Because when does that ever happen? In through the nose, out through the nose. We could, and that's optional, raise the knees off the ground, pressing the tops of the feet into the ground. You can hardly see I'm doing that with what I'm wearing. And again, completely optional. And then we're dropping the knees again, and on an inhale, right foot to the head, exhale, knee to the dropped head. Still arching and rounding in unison with the breath. And really letting the breath guide the movement. Then we can change position of the knee, take it to the armpit or shoulder a few times. And then we open up. So right leg to the back, left arm up, sliding that left foot out a little bit. Left arm up. Left arm is obviously not up. Right arm is up and might grab hold of the foot. And it's a little bit more stable if you slide that left foot out to the left side. We come down and change sides. So on an inhale, left foot goes up. Exhale, knee to the dropped head. Might touch, might not. Really doesn't matter. Doesn't get you any closer to enlightenment. And then again, we might change that around, bringing the knee to the left armpit, keeping the hip high, and then from here, not just yet. Oh yes, opening up into a variation of a half side plank. And again, you'll notice I've slid that right foot out a little bit, just to give myself a little bit more balance here. The head could go up, we could drop, we could do whatever, but slowly we find our way back into Padmasana and from here into Balasana. We round up again, press the hips forwards and down, coming into a very gentle arch. So don't overdo this. This isn't yet upward dog or anything. So in your own, you can see I'm going a little bit off-piste here. In your own time, come into Padmasana, start walking the heels into the mat, ground, grass. And let your shoulders get stronger and stronger as they press you to the back and up. You want that nice long spine, and the arms are long. And we roll forwards into a plank and push ourselves back up. a few more like that in your own time, exhaling obviously as you roll forwards, maybe it's not obvious, and exhaling as you move back up into Padvadasana. So there's time to breathe in those postures. There's always time to breathe. Don't rush the breath. On an inhale, raise your right leg. Move into the ankle, maybe into your toes as well. We don't use our feet enough when we always wear shoes. And then flex your foot, drop the heel, slowly raise your right hand, grab hold of the ankle. And somehow it's harder to flex the foot than it is to point. But that might just be me. Step the right foot to the front, raise the right arm, twist, look up if that's comfortable for the neck. Nice long breaths. That's why we're here, to be with the breath, to be with the body, to be aware of things we'd normally just ignore or not feel. That's the challenge of a posture. If you're challenging yourself, it's because it should help your meditation. Release and come into Anjani Asana, so left knee on the ground, and then from here press the elbows down, coming into a little back bend if you like. Also press the top of the foot into the ground and raise the knee. Back foot, that is. Kind of obvious. And then from here, hands down, tuck the toes under, step back into Padvadasana. And the other side. So moving into ankle and toes again. And remembering that as you're raising that leg, or you've got it raised, don't do anything strange with the shoulders. Don't let yourself come forwards. And that goes here for that bind as well. If you are raising the left hand and bringing it to the foot, then you want to make sure that right shoulder doesn't come forwards. The head doesn't suddenly come forwards, so we don't look to the front. And then step forwards, left foot to the front, left arm up. Had to think about that one. Left arm? Yes, left arm. And again, we look up if that's comfortable, but we won't force that if for whatever reason that's uncomfortable for the neck. I think in some of these poses, because of the extreme sunshine there in Menorca, I also didn't, and at times I closed the eyes. And that's obviously a nice thing as well, you know, an incentive for you to tune in a little bit more and challenge your sense of balance. And again, time to come into Anjani Asana, arms high. You'll notice here as well, but that goes without saying. So we want the hips low, we want to press them down. So shoulders down into a back bend, elbows down. But that left knee can come further forwards than your toes, but it needs to work for you. It needs to work for what is possible in your body, what's going on in the Achilles tendon. Are you suddenly feeling like you need to raise that heel, or can it be on the ground? Is it comfortable for the knee? So all of these things we need to question. Because just because I look a certain way in a posture obviously doesn't mean you should. But yeah, that goes without saying. We release and come back into our mountain pose or downward dog. Yeah, and we'll just spend a few breaths here. Taking care for the shoulders to stay strong. So we want to be here with awareness, not let ourselves just be happy in the pose without knowing what we're doing. And then right leg goes up. And from here, on an exhale, of course, as always, we step that foot into the middle of the mat, heel to the ground, right arm up and over to the front, stretching into the whole of the right side. And on an exhale, right arm behind you, press your hips down and look to the right shoulder or to the back. Going back over, stretching and staying here for a few breaths. So you want that knee, right knee high, right foot firmly on the ground at an angle. So both toes point to the right side there. And then drop back down, hips go down, right arm drops behind you. So you want to feel that in your in the front of your anterior deltoid a little bit without pressing too hard. And then back up and over and into a full side plank. And if that gets too much, you can always make changes. Well, we're coming out of it now. Knees to the ground, chest and chin to the ground. Ashtanga Namaskar. Gentle arch here into Cobra or Bhujangasana. Then head goes over to the right side, chin to shoulder. Head goes over to the left side, chin to shoulder. Back to the front, we might look up. We keep those arms bent, shoulders down, and press yourself back up into Parvatasana. And then on an inhale, left leg goes up. On an exhale, we step that foot halfway forwards, raise the arm and send it to the front. And then coming onto the outer edge of the right foot and press down the hips and the arm, looking to the back. And we inhale and go back up and over. And then stay here, as we did on the other side. Keep yourself comfortable. If anything is wrong with this posture for you, even if it looks right, then you need to change things. And back down, hips down, arm down. Chin might come to the shoulder. Back up and over, and then from here into a full side plank. Kashyapasana, Vasishthasana, different variations of side planks. Those are some of these Sapta Rishis, the sages, the saints, the receivers of the knowledge of yoga. And then down into Chaturanga Dandasana if it's not too early for that. And of course here you can change your mind as well. You can drop the knees before and then come into Upward Dog, where ideally the legs are off the ground. But it's okay if they're resting on the ground as well. Shoulders to the back, chest to the front, hips press down, and then hips press up, and we come back into Parvadasana. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, knee to the dropped head, and then right foot down, and we come into Warrior One. Veerbhadra, the gracious hero. Not so gracious when he first started off. Here's a point where you could close the eyes. I know I did back then. Well, I don't know. I'm thinking I did. And the challenge shouldn't be the posture itself. Not physically should this be challenging. Just you being here, letting the mind not wander. That's the challenge. Opening up into Warrior Two, And again, eyes could be closed, could be open. You could focus on that spot beyond your right middle finger there. And let the hands not drop. Maybe they can even be a bit higher than the shoulders. So where do you feel that heaviness in the arms? And then dropping into Trikonasana, so we're straightening that right leg. And then that left arm could go to the front here, if you wanted a deeper stretch into the side. Again, looking up is comfortable for some, not for everyone. Eyes closed is definitely an option, because I will have done that here. But always work with what's possible for you. And if you're focusing so hard on balancing that you don't know what's going on in the body, that is not the idea. Now into a bound extended side angle, Utthita Parsvakonasana, with that arm binding, also the right arm coming underneath the right leg, and left arm then going behind you. And of course it's an option to look down here. It may be more comfortable for the neck. So check that. Check everything. Even just those little things that we might forget. The outer edge of the left foot that's also pressing into the ground. And then slowly from here, hands to the ground. And we come into that twisted lunge again. So you want to roll on your toes at the back and send them to the front. And then up slowly, looking to the back, still twisting. Making sure your right knee is not doing anything weird. Is it comfortable? Are you comfortable in the pose? Are you breathing? And then come down. This could be a normal twisted lunge. It could be that you're going for a bind. A little variation would be hands to the heart center with that left elbow on the outside of the right knee. So it doesn't have to be a full bind at all. Another thing that does not get you closer to enlightenment. And release from here. Left hand down. We use that right hand to press the right knee out, even sliding onto the outer edge of the right foot if we want. And that left leg is on the ground. We're twisting, but we're letting the right hip be heavy. I mean, notice how low the left hip is on my side. We don't need to work on that. It's already down there. The right hip is the one where we want that feeling. And then hands down, torso down. And the ultimate posture there would be having the chest flush to the ground, obviously very deep. And again, it's not the aim. Just because someone in this world can do it doesn't mean that your body is physically capable of this, or shouldn't, right? And then the right leg comes further forwards. An option would be Hanumanasana, or the Lord of all the monkeys, Hanuman, and the one that gave us in gratitude to his guru, Surya Namaskar. And wherever you are here, however deep you're going in your variation of this, if it's still, Anjaneyasana, that's great, that's fine. Then you know that this is where you needed to stop. Stop where you feel that you're doing enough with the body. And don't go further than makes sense to you. Don't go further than what would go against your internal wisdom. And slowly release. I'm coming forwards a little bit. That's not what you need to do, but I noticed I wasn't really in the middle anymore. So Padradasana, gentle breaths. Remember, whenever deep breaths come to you, fine, but gentle breaths are deep as well. So other side now, setting up for Warrior One and coming up slowly. And close the eyes if you like. So with Warrior One, just naturally, you want that right foot a little bit further forwards than it would be in Warrior Two, so that it allows you to be open to the front, to not try too hard to push that right hip to the front and still not be able to align. So your stance could be much closer than mine here as well. And then we open up into Warrior Two. That right foot could go back a little bit. And the left knee is roughly over the left heel. Toes point to the front. Knee takes care not to drop. So we're very active in every part of the body. Hands don't drop. Arms get heavy and we enjoy that feeling. We don't love it, but we like the fact that we can feel the body. And then into your triangle, long arms, long legs. Yeah, and we can go deeper here. So you could hover that left hand over the ground. If you've got a block that you want to use, then use the block. If you're low enough, if you're flexible enough, then the left hand can be on the ground. And sometimes it has, of course it has to do with flexibility, but it's also how far are your feet from each other. If they're closer together, you're unlikely to come closer to the ground. The further they're apart, the easier it gets. And then from here, binding in Udit Parsvakonasana. So that bind would be the left hand holding on to the right fingertips, hand, wrist, forearm, wherever it takes you, however deep you want to go. But the idea is that we're pulling from the shoulder, or all the way into the shoulder, I should say. And again, head up needs to make sense for your body. And release. Left arm up. Right shoulder strong. Sometimes if we don't pay attention, we feel ourselves sink down into that right shoulder a little bit. So here I've obviously decided we're doing the bind first, and why not? Mix it up a little. And where are you looking? You could also look up in this posture. And from here, struggling a bit, up and over into that twist. So spine straight as it twists. And we look to the back, fixating our gaze as we would in Warrior 2, but this time not to the front, but beyond the back hand. And slowly coming down, hands to the ground. We drop the right leg, press the left knee out. And like me, take your time getting comfortable here. And twisting, looking to the back. Where you're looking is supposed to help you deepen the posture, but there's absolutely no sense in looking to the back. If your twist is just a hint of a twist, that means you're overstraining or straining at all the cervical spine. And then we come back and we make our way into Hanumanasana. If you're not there yet, then it might help to just bring, to stay in that lunge, bring the hands down, let the torso come further forward. So all these things are supposed to help you maybe stay there for the whole time rather than coming into Hanumanasana at all, or go from that lunge position where we're pressing the torso down into reaching the arms up so that you don't have the arms anymore, letting the torso have that weight onto the legs. That's also a nice way to do it if the full Hanumanasana isn't for you. And we make our way this time into child's pose rather than into mountain pose or downward dog. And just breathe. Be comfortable. Slowly come up. And again, I'm walking forwards, but we're in Padmadasana. And then from here, right hand to the left foot, outside of the left leg. Where exactly the hand is doesn't matter. Can be higher, can be lower. And then we change sides. And we make sure that the right shoulder is doing the work here. It's up to the task. It's pressing. And the head is comfortable. Don't know what that shake of the head for me was about. Maybe it was a fly. But the head is comfortable. As we could look up underneath that right shoulder. And we come back and roll forwards into a plank. Bring ourselves into Chaturanga Dandasana. And from there into upward dog. Push back up into Parvadasana, mountain pose. And raise your right leg. Knee to the dropped head on an exhale. Step behind you on an inhale. Arching in Chamatkarasan, or wild thing in English. Really it means miracle, which if we think about it, it is that our body can do all these shapes. And releasing slowly into a side plank. Again, it doesn't have to be this one. Reminder that many of them are named after sages. So be wise just like them. Guide the foot towards the front or just step to the front and come up into Ashvasanchalanasana, and from here back again into that twist. And this time drop your right hand, send the left arm to the back. And notice how we're still twisting. Look towards your back foot if you can. And then down, left hand down, right arm up. This time into Parivrit Trikonasana, so that left foot will step forwards a little bit so the full foot can be on the ground. And we straighten the right leg as much as we can. A revolved triangle. hand down and we walk into the middle, into a wide-legged forward fold. Hands wherever they're helpful. Ankles, middle, or walking towards the back, so between the legs. And then we come into the gate latch, so we sink down into that right leg. A little reminder here, or if you haven't done it before, the right heel could rise, the left toes rise. That's how we come a little bit lower. But of course, if you need the hands on the ground, keep them on the ground, no binds, no nothing. Whatever works here, because it is quite a challenging posture. Obviously related to Utthita Parsva Konasana, so that's where you could be as well. From here into a plank, and we drop the knees, chest and chin, this time coming into Purna Bhujangasana, so a deeper variation of that King of Cobras, with the feet up and the head coming towards the feet and the feet towards the head. Perfect. Now, hands a little bit further out, maybe outside of your mat. As you inhale, you come up. As you exhale, you come down. Let your shoulders be active. Staying for a little bit longer up top. And then slowly releasing and pressing yourself back up into Pardavadasana. And we stay here for a little while, being comfortable, maybe moving, just whatever the body needs. Making sure that's still that strength and awareness and intentionality. And then from here, get ready to raise the left leg, knee to the front, but then we open up to the side and flip over into Chamatkarasana, or miracle. We arch, we stay, we breathe, of course. Let's not forget to breathe. That always shows us whether we're actually comfortable enough to be in a posture or whether we should change. Quite clever, our breath. And then from here, flip into any variation, really, of a side plank. Guide or just step that left foot to the front. And then from here into Ashvasanchalanasana, or our horse in motion. We open up to the side, just as we did before, and look to the back. And then we drop further if we want to. Of course, that's just an option. We always make sure that things work for us and feel fine for us today. Not, as a default, I can do this pose. Always just observe, as if there was no past, as if you didn't know. So have amnesia. Come into that revolved triangle from here, Parivrit Trikonasana. And of course that might mean stepping the feet closer together so that that back foot is firmly on the ground, so the heel as well. And left leg might never straighten all the way, we're all different. Right hand might also not be on the ground, but on that left leg there's many, many different options. And we release and come back into the middle here between the feet. Feet could go further apart, and this time I'm showing a different option, but it ultimately doesn't matter where your hands are. And it's not the aim of this posture to have the crown of the head on the ground. Even the ultimate, that deepest way of practicing a posture is never the aim, coming down into that gate latch pose. So sinking down with the right heel on the ground, left heel maybe off the ground, which you obviously can't see right now, but we can be on the left toes only. So that ultimate aim of every posture is not, I've said this so often, but it really is true. It's not going into the deepest variation of it, nailing the pose, getting better and better physically at it. You're practicing the posture perfectly if you're doing a hint of it only, but you are there. You're knowing exactly what's going on in the body at every second that you are in this posture. Cool. Come out and into Chaturanga. From here into Upward Dog. And then back into Parvadasana or Adho Mukha Svanasana. We jump to the front or we step to the front, doesn't matter. Coming into Ardha Uttanasana, where we're halfway up, nice and long in the spine, and we fold back forwards. From here, we inhale and let the fingertips guide the way up into Hasta Uttanasana. And stay here and breathe, and then from here, slowly on an exhale, we bring the hands to the heart center. Yes, I've decided the palm was in the way, so I cut that bit out. Inhale, raise your arms. Exhale, fold forwards. And then breathe in, step your right foot to the back. Sink down, give yourself time. On an exhale, you step the left foot to the back and lower as you hold your breath. Inhaling into Upward Dog. And exhaling into Downward Dog or Mountain. So that breath hold really is part of traditional asana practice a lot. Inhale, right foot goes up. Exhale, step to the front. Inhale and come up into Ashvasanchalanasana. And exhale into Warrior 3. And hands can be where you need them to be. You might open up into Ardha Chandrasana here. The most beautiful of the gods, Chandra, who took away many other planets, gods, women, wives. And we come up into Natarajas. And this is one variation in which you can come to it. You could just stand and then grab hold of your left foot with the left hand. You could go further here, so there's many different variations. And interestingly here, this is not, it might be the deepest version, but it's not the traditional one. And I'll say on the other side how, but first into that Hasta Uttanasana and Anjali Mudra. And then from here, of course, we'll do the other side. I promise, second part of the story. Inhale, arch. Exhale, fold forward. So you're rounding the back a little bit there. Inhaling, stepping the left foot to the back and really taking your time. Exhale all the way, stepping the right foot to the back. Hold your breath. There's Bahe Kumbhak after you've exhaled. And inhale as you arch. And on your exhalation, coming into that beautiful Parvadasana or Downward Dog. Inhale, left leg goes up. Exhale, step to the front. Inhale, Ashvasanchalanasana. A high lunge, if you will. Exhale, doesn't matter how or where the hands are, it needs to work for you within your balance. Into Warrior 3. And again, you could keep holding in Warrior 3. Of course, different thing that we're doing with the hip if we are opening up, but it's completely fine to stay there. Again, it's not about the posture, it's about your balance, the mental balance. Are you right here or are you letting the mind wander? In which case, physical balance is also more challenging. And then we might from here come into Natarajasana, of course, holding on to the foot. But again, come into a forward fold, then come up if you prefer. Just anything that works for you. And this here is Natarajasana. In fact, the most traditional way is pressing that left palm of the hand towards the front, because this is how Shiva is supposed to have communicated the Vedas to false saints, to rishis that weren't rishis and were trying to get rid of him, but obviously he'd have none of it, but then was kind enough to educate them and communicate everything to them. Right, we inhale and raise the arms up high. We step the feet apart, push the knees out and the hips down, coming into Malasana. Nice long spine if we can, raising the heels if that's a little bit too much with the heels on the ground. And then from here, buttocks to the ground and raise your legs, coming into any variation of Navyasana or Nokasana, different words for the same posture, a boat, balancing on that tailbone, long spine, and then slowly rolling down, but keeping your upper back and your legs off the ground. And then nice and slowly, legs go up, Ardha Halasana or Viprit Karni. So the raising of the legs, and we're taking ourselves into the full plow Halasana. And if we want from here, trousers probably not the best choice here. It seemed a good idea. If we want, we can come into Karnapirasana, so lower legs onto the ground, And from here again, just one more option. You could stay in Halasana. You could come into Sarvangasana. No right or wrong, but just a little reminder that lots of people oscillate towards yoga, the physical yoga practice, because they're flexible, because they are a certain body type. And that body type in Ayurvedic terms would be called Vat or Vata. And that is, I'm bringing knees towards the forehead now. Feel free to do that too or go elsewhere. That body type is characterized by sort of slightly more filigree bones, and that has an effect on Sarvangasana and how you're putting a lot of strain on the cervical spine. So it's not for everyone. We come out of wherever we were and into Matsyasana. So for example, into a variation in which we've got the legs in that Padmasana position, and then the hands could come to the feet. And what my preference here is, and that's also just an option, is Setubandha Sarvangasana, that full bridge pose. And again, this isn't Chakrasana, it becomes Chakrasana if and when we bring our hands around the ankles, because then it's a full circle. It's that vortex of energy that is uninterrupted, right? And that's why we also have the hands together in Anjali Mudra, to keep our energy intact within us. But again, it doesn't matter. But if you are in Chakrasana, maybe give it a try here, which I did, coming up to standing and then raising the arms and folding forwards on an exhale. Now stay here in that forward fold for a little bit, because whether you were in Matsyasana, in that fish pose, or whether you were in Chakrasana, there was an arch. It might feel nice to hold that for a little bit longer, that rounded position. But whenever you're ready, come into Shavasana. And we're almost at the end. This is our time to just relax and be, to let the breath come back to normal, to focus on the breath rather than letting it be guided. And it'll do exactly what it needs to do and find its perfect rhythm. And the rest of the body does the same. If we've warmed up, which I think we will have, if our heart rate has risen, our blood pressure, our respiration is only one of these things that we can observe. And other things are harder to observe like that, but you'll notice as well, it's easy to observe the heart rate if we're paying close attention. And that goes for so many different things as well. We might think we can't notice what our blood pressure is like, but of course we can. If you've ever measured it with 2 fingers on a pulse, you know what I'm talking about. And we don't need that. We don't need the hand on the stomach or the chest to notice that we're breathing, to notice that we have a heartbeat and what it's doing. Helpful maybe, but not necessary. So now all of these things are slowly going back to normal, and we're aware because we're right here. And as we breathe in, we just know that we're breathing in. We're aware of that breath. That's all it needs and nothing else. And as we breathe out, we aren't making that happen. We're just aware of the breath going out. And slowly we can start guiding. So this is up to you. You could stay in Shavasana, or you could come into a last twist where you're guiding the right knee to the left side in some way. You might not need it and might prefer just observing your body in this stillness. And if you were twisting one way, then it might make sense to twist the other way as well. Oh, it's definitely very sweaty. A lot of cooling down to do. And then slowly from here, come up, potentially into Baddha Konasana, or that bound angle with the torso coming forwards. And we're almost ready, which doesn't mean we can't take it easy afterwards and be kind to ourselves and slow with our body and mindful and aware, because that's what it's all about really. And then we can come to seated, bring our hands into Gyan Mudra if we like. It doesn't really matter. Last few moments here. I hope you enjoyed the background, those beautiful sounds of nature. We rub the hands together and place the palms over the face, and when you're ready, open the eyes, hands to the heart center.